Hello and welcome. In piping design, a lot of our focus is on supporting the pipe itself, against gravity and other forces. But there's another challenge, and it's a bit more subtle and frankly more dangerous. We have to protect the equipment from the pipe. So today, we're going to dig into stress-aware routing and talk about how to stop pipes from damaging the very machinery they're supposed to serve.
You see, a lot of designers think the job's done once the flange bolts are tight, but that's not the case. The reality is, when a piping system gets hot, it can literally transform into this massive, slow-moving hydraulic ram. Now, if it's routed the wrong way, that pipe is going to exert tons, and I mean tons, of force on the equipment it's connected to. We call this nozzle load. And if that load exceeds what the manufacturer says is safe, you're looking at catastrophic failure. Things like warped pump casings or cracked heat exchanger shells. In this explainer, we're going to see how your layout decisions are really the key to taming these incredibly powerful forces.
Okay, so let's dive right in. First things first, we need to define the enemy, right? What exactly is a nozzle load? Well, think about any piece of industrial equipment. Could be a small pump, could be a giant distillation column. They all have these connection points we call nozzles. Now, here's the thing. Those nozzles are designed to handle internal pressure, no problem, but they're surprisingly weak when it comes to external mechanical forces. And that's exactly what a nozzle load is. It's the sum of all the pushing, pulling, twisting, and bending that a pipe puts on that nozzle. It's that mechanical stress we have to get under control. So where do these loads come from? Well, there are three main culprits. First, you've got the simple weight of the pipe, especially if it's not supported correctly. Second is the internal pressure that's always trying to push everything apart. But the third one, thermal expansion, that's the big one, and it's the one you, as a designer, have direct control over. Look, you can't change the operating temperature of the fluid, but you have 100% control over the piping geometry. And that geometry is how you manage the forces from all that thermal growth. So how does this all become such a huge problem out in the field? Well, the single most common cause of dangerously high nozzle loads is a design flaw that we call rigid routing. I want you to picture this. You've got a pump, and 5 meters away there's a vessel. If you just run a straight piece of pipe directly from the pump discharge to the vessel inlet, what have you just created? You've created a totally rigid link. So when that pipe heats up, it wants to expand. But that big heavy vessel? It's not going anywhere. And the pump? It's bolted to a concrete foundation, it's not moving either. So the pipe is trapped. All that expansion force has nowhere to go but straight down the line, and it's going to slam into the weakest point in the system, which is almost always the pump nozzle. It literally acts like a crowbar. And this really is the heart of the matter. Rigid routing creates what we call a hard pipe. It has absolutely no give. It behaves just like a solid steel rod, transferring every last bit of that thermal expansion force straight into your equipment. The solution, then, is flexible routing. This is where we get clever and transform the pipe into something that acts more like a spring. It absorbs that force through bending, and by doing that, it protects the equipment. Here's a good rule of thumb. If you ever see a long, straight pipe run connecting two pieces of equipment, that's a huge red flag. Okay, so if the problem is rigidity, how do we reduce these loads? Well, we use geometry. The goal is to make the piping act like that spring, not like a rod. And we do that by adding what we call flexibility legs near the equipment connections. There are three really common techniques for this. First, you've got your basic L and Z shapes. The rule is simple. Never approach a nozzle in a straight line from a long pipe run. Always, always introduce a change in direction. That way, as the main header grows, that short leg can bend just a little bit, and that's enough to absorb the stress. Second, especially for high-temperature pumps, we often use a loop. You route the line past the pump and then turn it back 180 degrees. All that extra pipe length gives you a soft approach and really lowers the overall stiffness of the system. And finally, you have to minimize the lever arm. Think about it. A heavy valve on a long vertical pipe creates a massive amount of torque on the nozzle. You have to either keep that center of gravity as close to the nozzle as possible, or just support the valve completely on its own. All right, last thing, let's talk about your relationship with the stress engineer. This isn't just about physics anymore. This is about workflow and how we work together. You see, on way too many projects, there's this terrible habit, this really wasteful loop you see here. The designer routes the pipe, thinks, yep, I'm done, and sends it off to the stress department. The stress engineer runs the numbers, finds out the nozzle loads are way too high, and boom, the design is rejected. And now the designer has to go back, rip up all that work, and start all over again. It's a complete and total waste of time and budget. The only way to break this cycle is to practice what we call stress awareness right from the beginning. Whenever you're routing a hotline, let's say anything over 150 degrees Celsius, you have to be constantly asking yourself, where is this pipe going to grow? And if the answer is directly into a nozzle, you have to change the design, right then and there. For sensitive machinery like pumps and compressors, you have to build in that flexibility from day one. Just remember this, a good designer solves 90% of the stress problems just by choosing a flexible route. The stress engineer's job should be to verify your safe design, not to redesign a broken one from scratch.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of the key principles of stress-aware routing.
First, nozzle loads. Remember, these are the damaging forces and moments that the pipe is trying to put on your equipment. Second, rigid routing. Those straight lines transfer 100% of the thermal expansion force, and that needs to failure. Third, flexibility is what protects the equipment. By adding elbows and loops, we convert that dangerous thrust into a much more manageable bending stress. And finally, proactive design. You have to anticipate the growth and route flexibility into your system right from the very start. Don't just wait for the stress engineer to find and fix your layout.
So, we've covered the physics, the components, and the logic behind a good layout. But that leaves a big question. How is your work actually checked in a real-world project? In the next part of our series, we're going to wrap up this module by looking at the EPC review mindset and the most common design failures that they're looking for.